Hi, I'm Arantxa Sanchez-Vicario. We are here to talk about Roland Garros.
Vamos.
How are you?
Good. It's always the stress of the stress of the initial connection.
Well, I was finishing one of the the kids. They have online school, and I was helping them. And I say, hold on a second because I have to enter. So I was doing both times at the same time. So, but here I am. So it's okay.
It's really not nice, Arantxa, to use the kids as excuse.
No, but it's been like, hopefully, you need more hours during the day, when you have kids, but it's okay. I cannot complain.
Okay, good. So tell us, where are you in the world?
I'm in Miami. That's where I live. So
You're in Miami.
yeah, I'm in Miami.
So wait, what is it about past tennis players that everybody's living in Florida? I didn't get the memo. What's going on here?
Well,
You're
I think
in Florida, Jim Courier, Chris Evert. Who else did we speak to that was in Florida? Somebody else was in Florida. I forget who, but
well, I think it's must be because it's always good weather, probably, and you are close probably from everywhere. And basically, when you have kids, it's the place that you can do more things outside. So it's nice to keep them busy, and it's a very nice city as well. And for me, obviously, the language is very easy as well. And but as I think it was the place that you know before when you were playing and you feel comfortable, and then circumstances of life, now I'm living here, so that's why.
Nice. Yeah, and you can definitely use your Spanish in Miami.
Yeah,
it's like more people are speaking Spanish than in English there.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, that sometimes that they look at you like, what?
Oh, you're back. I had lost you for a second there.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't know what's happening. Technology.
No, don't worry about it. So, yeah, so we should be maybe drinking coffee together at Roland Garros right now.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it was postponed till late September. So, in late September, we'll have a coffee together. Are you okay with that?
Yes, definitely. I'm looking forward, and it's always a great place to have coffee there.
Un cafecito.
Un café.
But in the meantime, let's talk about Roland Garros and let's make the tournament live via conversations. I've been having a lot of conversations. It's been amazing. I've been very, very lucky to speak to all of you guys, all of you former champions that have made this tournament what it is today. And yeah, you're completely in that with your 3 titles, your 3 finals. What was it? I wrote down also 4 semifinals. I mean, wow, that's what a record you have at that tournament. Completely amazing. So first of all, congratulations, even if it's a little bit in the past, but congratulations anyways, because when I go through these, I go through your record and I see final, victory, final, victory, semifinal, and I'm like, wow, it's amazing. And it started in 1987. You were 15 years old and you were in the quarterfinals, and that's just, today, it's something that almost can't happen anymore. It has to be very, very exceptional. But quarterfinals at 15 years old, did you even realize what was going on, how big that was? Or was it maybe less huge then than it was today, you think? Or I don't know, because of less exposure?
Well, I think definitely, when I was a younger age, I always wanted to do well at the French Open, because for the Spaniards, the French Open is always the favorite tournament, and we definitely always dreamed to win the first Grand Slam you want to win is the French Open, I think because it's also close from home, and definitely I always connected very well with the crowd. I always, was feeling very comfortable there, and especially clay court was the surface that I always loved to play on, and I just think that on my case, as you know, I passed from being, like a very young, champion. I didn't have the process to play, juniors, because when I was 14, I turned professional. And with 3 tournaments, I get ranking and I get into the 100 in the world. So after that, definitely, it is a completely different story for me, but it's amazing that I was, preparing well, and it came at a very young age. I didn't expect that that's going to happen that young. But I have to learn with that. I have to deal with that. And definitely I get much more mature faster, right? And I went to the French Open. I have nothing to lose. I play always good season on the clay, preparing really well before the French. And kind of like I started to get winning, one match, second match, third match, and I get to the quarterfinals at the age of 15, when normally I'm supposed to play the juniors. So here I was, playing the Mcenroe, quarterfinals,
Amazing.
beating players that normally better ranking than than me, and bigger, older than me, and but I have nothing to lose. I always play better when I have, against the tough opponents, when they were having better rankings than me. I like to compete because I was a very good competitive person, and I was a fighter, so I was never going to give up. When I was that young, and even when I was, I continue, never giving up on my life, my career. But yeah, definitely was a big, compliment to be there on the quarterfinals. The whole Spain was looking forward, for this young 15-year-old girl, Spanish, doing so well. And here it was, a very nice experience, into the Grand Slam, losing on the quarterfinals, but having the chance that one day I can go, maybe more ahead, a little bit farther, and one day, maybe winning. And that's, how the philosophy was when I was younger. And then, slowly it came up. I started to do a little bit better. And then at the age of 17, is that when it happened? So a little bit later. Crazy, yeah, crazy.
My younger son is 16 years old. So to think, a year younger, 15 years old, on such a huge stage, dealing with such pressure and 15,000 people. I mean, how you weren't, were you used to, you had never experienced that, such a big crowd.
No,
in fact,
definitely.
Maybe it shows a little bit in the result of your quarterfinal against Gabriela Sabatini, but because in the second set, she completely destroyed you. 6-4, 6-0 was the score of that match.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that was when all of a sudden you realized that this thing was so big, and I don't know, was that what happened? I don't know.
Well, fortunately, to be there, I just try to be, the best I can. But I have an opponent that was bigger than me, has also more experience because he was there, other situations before. And maybe the first set, I was a little bit more, but definitely she played better than me, obviously, and to beat me, with that result. Didn't show as much as the result, but I ended losing, 6 love on the second one. And I learned something, positive about that. I just think that I knew that I still have to improve a lot. I still can, get better player. I can definitely, sometimes you learn better when you lose than when you win all the time, right? So I talked, with my coach. I looked what I did wrong. I get, also I was happy as well to get to the quarterfinals, because before the tournaments, I never expect that that's going to happen. So I took the positive as well. I learned from from what happened in that match. And I try for the next time that doesn't happen again, that I lose, 6 love in the second set.
Yeah,
it's easy to say now because you look at so much, back away. But when I was 15, I was like, okay, well, what happened? I have to do for next time to get better. And that's how I look at it. Try to get more positive for the next time.
Yeah. And the next time, so you made to the quarterfinals again, but along the way you beat somebody called Chris Evert, who is the title holder of Roland Garros with 7 titles. She was the best clay player ever, all time. She's the Rafa Nadal in the women's on clay. And you beat her 6-1, 7-6 in 2 sets. She was number 3 in the world. And that must have been something very, very special.
Well, definitely. I have to admit that Chris Evert was my idol since I grew up. I watched her playing as well as Martina Navratilova on TV. Those are 2 players that I always watched the matches on TV, and I was dreaming to play both of them one day and maybe get the experience and to compete against them and try to, to be as a champion as they are. So, yeah, definitely a year later, I go there and play in the 3rd round, against Chris Evert. She was the favorite. She, as you say, she was the queen of the Paris. She always win, there, and she didn't lose many matches, definitely going to the clay court, the French Open. And I think I have nothing to lose. I just try to play, my game. I know that I probably surprised her probably in the beginning because I played very well the first set. I was not missing much. I was very aggressive. And then second set, I started getting a little bit nervous because I knew I was getting closer to beat her. And she got much more experience than me, obviously. And she started, getting more shots back and start getting into the match. So it was a little bit tighter. but I handle my nerves pretty well. I just think that I say, okay, let's try to play point by point. Don't think about that you are gonna try to beat, Chris Evert, and try to be focused and finish it in 2 sets, because like this, I have more chance to win the match. If we would go 3 sets, maybe it would be a different story, and you never know. But I definitely try to control my nerves more than anything, and try to, play more aggressive than her, and good enough that I beat her in 2 sets and I won the match. But I could not believe it until I go to shake hands with her, and she congratulated me and say, congratulations. I was like, oh my God, that's true. I beat her. I beat you, and I was like thinking inside of me, and when I saw the score and when I went to the changeover, I started crying like a baby, because I definitely, was a dream come true, and beating her there, I say, well, if I beat the best player on the clay court, definitely I'm getting much more closer one day to win here, and maybe, to be able to be a champion as well. But it was the best victory of my career, and definitely beating her was something that I will never forget, being so young.
Best victory of your career?
Well, I was only 16, yeah. So that the whole thing started, because that was the best, top player that I beat, and the best player so far.
Best victory of your career so far, or do you think that's really the biggest victory of your career, that match?
No, that was the beginning of the beginning of the best, victory, because before that I never beat a top 10 player, or I never beat a champion like her. So I say, if I'm 16 years old and I beat Chris Evert when she was number 3 in the world, maybe one day I can go, to get there and probably be battling with the best of the best players. So at this, I just thought, okay, just continue working. I'm doing the right things, and so hopefully one day, I can definitely be with them on the history of tennis. And here it was later on.
There's a question here from Sasha, who's asking, is Corey Goff the new Arantxa Sanchez?
Well, I think we're different generations, but definitely,
in terms of age,
I think the age, she's definitely, the player that the upcoming one, the player that she has so much potential. She is definitely a very good player, but also a very good person. I don't know her very well. I get the chance to meet her 2 times, only talk to her a little bit, but I think she has a very good people on her side. She knows where she wants. She knows she has her feet, on the floor. And that's something very important as well. Not only be a good tennis player, but also be a good person. I think she's doing a lot for the game. She's very good for women's tennis. And we're going to hear her a lot in the future, because she is definitely, maybe following a little bit, as a young age as I did, to kind of start getting there in the big events. And maybe, we'll see her in the future winning, like the big events as well. So I think that she's one of the players definitely that we will talk about her for a long time.
Yeah, because it's so rare these days.
Yeah,
it's in your time, you were the youngest to win, and then a year later, Monica Seles won, and she beat your record of being the youngest, and Martina Hingis was young, but now it's different, and all of a sudden Corey Goff, again, very young, and is able to perform on the big scenes against the big players. And
yeah, it doesn't happen very often. It's true. We don't see that, like our generation, maybe it was more common because we start so young and we start winning so young, right? We were a group that we were so young that we will start winning, big competitions. But now you don't see that so often anymore. And it's nice to see this kind of player coming up and start doing, so well.
Yeah. Anyways, so the year after you beat Chris Evert, you that was the first big year, and that was the first title against this player, a German player that nobody really knew. She out of qualification, wild card. No, I'm kidding. Of course, Steffi Graf. You're down 5-3 in the third set. I mean, first of all, she comes into this match having like a 45 winning streak in Grand Slams or something crazy like that. And she's playing you. You're 17 years old, out of nowhere, almost. And I heard that apparently the day before the match, Spanish journalists asked you something like, so how many games do you think you're going to win? Or something like, nobody believed in you. You believed in yourself and your team, but very clearly Steffi was favored, okay, on paper, but she was so favored in everybody's mind. She was so much favored that you surprised her.
Well, definitely, as you said, Steffi Graf, before coming up to play that match, she didn't lose, one match. She was 2.5 years straight winning everything. Everything means Grand Slams, gold medals, all the best tournaments in the world, be number one in the world, in 2 years consecutive. So coming up there, it was, obviously she was the favorite. And as you say, she played the year before, she beat, Natasha Zvereva. She was ranked number 5 in the world on the biggest final, 6 laps. So in 38 minutes,
34 minutes,
34 minutes or 38 minutes, whatever. I don't know. I mean, I think that it was the fastest final victory probably, women's era. So imagine, I can understand when someone, come the next year and play, nobody knows that is a 17-year-old Spanish player, get to the final. So everybody thinks, okay, Steffi Graf, she's going to kill her. She's going to beat her as well easily, in the final. But I think that helped me a lot. I was very, very, ready because I have nothing to lose. I have a great tournament, beating other top 10 players as well. Good victories coming up there. I was like, I have my chances. Obviously, I just have to go and play it on the court, right, against her in the final. But as you say, I went to the final. I was the happiest person ever, going to the press conference. And here we go. Not the first question. Well, what do you think you're gonna do tomorrow? Or what do you think about the match tomorrow? The Spanish journalist goes, how many games do you think you're going to win tomorrow? I was in shock. I was like, I paralyzed my face like, this is not possible. This is not real. I mean, come on. It's serious inside of me, but I could not even, wanted to talk because I wanted to enjoy the moment. But the only thing I did was I look at both, all of the press conference, even the Spanish journalists, and I say, we'll talk tomorrow. That's what was my answer but as soon as the press conference was over, I walked off and I went to talk with my family, with my friends, my coach, and I could not understand why. They took all my my happiness away from just gonna happen the final. But I have to admit that I slept so bad because of the nerves of the final playing Steffi Graf. Also, that question was on my mind because it was going to happen tomorrow. That I slept really bad coming up into the final, the next day. Mm-hmm. And once I started warming up, is that when the whole thing disappeared. I kind of changed myself and I say, okay, let's go and play. I have nothing to lose. Just, do the tactics you have to do. Try to get close from the first games because that was very important. And just play the final and see what happens. And suddenly we were, 1-0, 1-0, 2-0, 3, 2-0, 3-0. Suddenly after an hour, I win first set 7-6. And what happened was that obviously the crowd, they always go with the underdog, right? I was the underdog. People start seeing what I was fighting, how I was playing. They start liking me. They like my personality. They start supporting me. I get much more excited. I get more pumped. I get, really confidence. And I knew the crowd was behind me. And that's something that Steffi started getting really nervous, So I kind of feel her and, start playing very well, attacking her more to her backhand because I think that was where I have to play because I have to avoid her, her forehand. Try to play long rallies and be aggressive when I have the chance and, go to the net when I have to. So mix it up a little bit. I ended losing 6-3. And then she served at 5-3 on the third set. And, and the match was very close. And suddenly I break, her serve. 5-4.
You break it love. Excuse me.
Yes,
break it love.
Exactly. She didn't win. So after that, I realized that she was nervous, that she has attention. She was really tight because she never was probably expecting that. She was not long time for that situation. And I have nothing to lose. I just keep being focused myself. But suddenly, when I remember, I just walking by to the changeover to get ready for the, playing the next game. I see her walking by from the, from the door of the court. I guess she disappeared from the court. I don't know why. And I look at it and I say, what's happening here? But I say, okay, just concentrate. So I try to be focused. So I, win my serve 5-0. Suddenly, I break her serves again. So 6-5.
And serving.
And serving for the match. So I was sitting down
serving for the title.
Exactly. I know, but that's when my nerves coming up. I start feeling everything was shaking. I was thinking, oh my God, I'm one game away of beating Steffi and winning the French Open. So I try not to think too much about it, but I was young. I was trying to just play, point by point. And everything was moving. My legs, my hands, my headband. I was just trying to say, come on, vamos, my favorite, supporting, when I was always on the court. The crowd was behind me. So I just tried playing by point, and suddenly, when I heard game set in my Sanchez, I could not believe it. I just threw the racket on the floor, on the air. I rolled on the clay, and I started crying like a baby. And then until I didn't go to the change, to the net and change hands with Steffi, and she said, "Congratulations." I say, "Thank you." I shake hands with the umpire. I start crying, and then I just wanted to go with my family and hug my family and pass the protocol, everything. But I could not believe it until I have, the trophy in my hands. And I was the happiest person in the whole life. And I make history because nobody expects that. But sometimes in tennis, these things happen, And I think that I couldn't wait, obviously, to go back to the press conference and tell, the answer to that journalist again. So that's the story.
Did you answer him? What happened at the press conference?
Yeah, no. I was just, doing the protocol. I did the press conference. And obviously when I look at him and I say in front of all the journalists, I said to him, "What do you have to say now? Did you have to say, anything now?" He looked at me and he said, "I apologize. I should not ask you that question." I said, "Well, for next time, you don't have to, to do those questions." And I just start continuing, the conference. But I was the happiest person. And I say, "Well, now you will respect me a little bit more." And that's how the end of the story. But
so
yeah.
A
but
17-year-old girl that also gave a lesson to an adult guy in the press conference room in front of everybody. You shamed him. Good for you.
I think it was fun to tell because that's something that you don't expect from those situations. But I keep always. So sorry.
No. You have Yellball, somebody called Yellball517 who says in French, "Finale Roland Garros, Graf Sanchez. Tell me if you understand. Le match qui m'a fait aimer le tennis." Do you understand that?
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
The match that made him love tennis.
Appreciate that. That he likes tennis after watching that match. And
that's the match that made him love tennis. Yeah.
I think that it's important to see people that they love that match. They love the game, the passion that I put on the court, the fight that I was as a player. And I think that I'm happy that he kind of started liking tennis after that. So thank you for letting me know, because after so many years, it's still very important to know that people still like you.
For sure. But it's funny because you said you had nothing to lose going to play that final, but excuse me, had you lost 6-0, 6-0 in 34 minutes, Natasha Zvereva had a lot to lose, lost a lot that day. I mean, that's a painful defeat. And if you get humiliated like that, on center court in the final of a Grand Slam, it's terrible for your career, especially if you're 17 years old. It can be very, very complicated after. So it wasn't like you were going and it was like you were going. The last time she played a final, she beat her opponent love in 34 minutes.
I know. I think that for me, fortunately, I never have that 6 love so fast in the match. I lost the match pretty fast once of the final of the Grand Slams, against Steffi at the Australian Open. But at least I won 3 games, but not lost love. But definitely, you don't want that to happen. So I was very happy when I won the first game, and at least I say, well, I won a game. Whatever happens, I was better than the last year's final. But I didn't want, once you are there, you just try to continue and give your best. And definitely it was the best final because it was 3.5 hours battle, and I think that I play, that probably was my best victory of my career. I can say that in the beginning for me, because after that I was be able to continue, winning big tournaments and winning more Grand Slams, beating more times Steffi, not only on clay, but also on different surface, and to become #1 in the world in singles and doubles. So a lot of things changed. From now on, my whole career started on the top.
29 titles in singles, 69 titles in doubles, which is absolutely huge. You were such a fighter. Do you remember Julie Allard?
Yes, of course.
So Julie said about you, she said, unless you hit her in the face with a ball and knock her out, what are you supposed to do against her on the court?
I always have tough I always have a tough, matches against Julie. She was also a tough opponent, I have to admit, because she was hitting the ball pretty hard. And we always remember that we always, we're rivals, but we have a pretty good relation off the court. And we always have, remember matches with the battles of, the points that we play in like this afterwards. So I know that it comes from a compliment say, because I know that she also was getting desperate sometimes playing me, same as me when I was playing her with all the shots that she was making. But it's nice to remember, the good battles we have, and that we play each other. But definitely thanks for, she knows me very well.
So I want to ask you, because you came from a family of two brothers that were professional tennis players, not just tennis players, professional tennis players that have experience, that were famous, that were top 20, top 10 or top 20. I don't remember. Emilio was top 10.
Well, Javier was top 20 and Emilio was top 10.
So, yeah.
He was Emilio was number 1 in doubles. So yeah, I came from a big family of tennis stars.
Is that pressure? Is that motivation? Is that that's tough, because if you decide to go into a tennis career with those two having achieved what they have achieved, you know that you're going to be compared to them. You know that it's going to happen, especially with the Spanish journalists. No, I'm kidding. I like the Spanish journalists, but was that something I don't know, was it a weight on you at all, or was it just pure motivation?
Well, definitely it helped me to come from a tennis family, because I'm the youngest of 4, I have an older sister and 2 brothers who play tennis. So definitely I wanted, to do the same as they were doing. And when you have older brothers, you always want to copy them because they are good role models, right? And especially they were very good tennis players as well. So I definitely knew that I was going to be a tennis player, because I picked up the racket when I was a very young age, and I wanted to play with them, and I started playing tournaments at a very young age. And they were my role models, so I wanted to do the same. And I say, if they win a tournament, I would like to win a tournament too. So I tried to practice with them as much as I can. I was the little one, so they play with me to support me. And I have a very good support from my parents. I think was very important, because they know that I was the youngest, and I want to also, to play tennis. And it was not a pressure for me. It was definitely opposite. It was a big favor, because I can, be with them and see what they were doing to try to follow and the same, the same direction, and try to be as good as they are. And that's what I was looking for. And always I always was the little sister of, and then things turn around. They become the sister of. So
the brothers of.
Yeah, the brothers of. So I just think that I was just very happy, but it never bothered me when I was the little one, and it didn't bother me when I was the favorite and the better of the family. I just
Did it
think
bother
that
them? Did it bother them?
No. I just think maybe at the beginning they didn't like it, because when because I was the little one and I was better, but they always supported me and they were very happy. But it wasn't a good in a good term, and obviously it was more difficult for a woman coming from from my country, because they always support more the men's. And but what I did, I just think that I opened, I was maybe a little bit of pioneer of women's tennis in my country, and I was the first female male to win the French Open, as well as to be number 1. And from now on, we have so many great champions afterwards. So I can be happier, because Spain was always been on the spotlight of tennis, and we have a great champions as well. But I just think that everything started because of my brothers as well. So they're a little bit part of me. And then I become, number 1 for, being who I was, just getting better player and fighter, and my condition, maybe mentally and physically, and my, my motivation on the court and my technique. So everything together, because it's very easy to say that you will be number 1, but it's very difficult to get there, but even more maintain yourself there. And I was happy enough for a very long career. I never have too many injuries. So I was very lucky as well, because I prepared myself very well. And I was lucky enough to win in all the surface and then having a great career. I never expect to have a great career. If they would have told me before when I was younger that I have to sign, that I'm going to have that career, I would have signed straight away. But I never expect to have that. So I'm very privileged and very honored to have a great career as I have, and very, very happy with myself.
Yeah, you say it's hard to become number 1. It's hard to stay number 1. It's probably hard also to no longer be number one when you lose that spot. It must be a funny feeling also to be like, oh, because you get
Well,
used to it, right? It's a nice place to be.
well, definitely when you look the rankings and you start moving up in the ranking and you say, okay, I'm now number 10, number 9, number 8, 7, 6, 5, I'm getting closer to 4, 3, 2. But then when you see yourself on number one, you are the happiest person in the whole world because there's nobody better be, in front of you. You are the best of all the other, top, 1,000 players that they have in the ranking in the tennis, right? So your dream come true. I was the happiest person. It took me a while to take it like I was number one and taking away Steffi Graf because she was, the biggest rival that I have in the moment. And until I did see my name number one, I in the next tournament, I realized that definitely, it was going to change a lot of things because everybody wants to beat me afterwards, because they want to be the best out of the best. But I try to handle as much as I can. You learn from the situations and always try to do the right things and try to maintain myself there as much as I can to be number one, battling from number one, number two, number three for a long time, and to be there with the great players like Steffi Graf and Monica Seles and all the other opponents that I had. So it was a tough era for me, but very happy because I took them away. Even I was not the tallest and the strongest or hitting harder as everybody else, but I have a very good mind. That in tennis is very important, good technique and very good, fight and coordination and how to know how to play in the good moments and battling to win, and control that pressure because I learned it for a very young age, and I learned it every time in a good moments and a bad moments, but always try to be myself. And I think that helped me a lot through my whole career and through my life as well.
Mm-hmm, for sure. We have a question from David, who actually is in Miami also, and who is asking, you used to wear this thing on your belt to hold the second ball when you were serving, but it was a problem sometimes, no? And he's asking, wasn't it a problem, and why were you playing with that? And did you not stop playing with that after?
Well, I started wearing it because I didn't like to put the ball on my pants before when I was younger, and it came the coincidence that a friend of my father who was invented things did it for me to try it, and it worked out really well. I get very comfortable because like this I don't have to use. We didn't have the ball boys at that moment that they can give you the ball either, so it was the easiest way to have two balls. Otherwise, I have to go and pick up the ball, so it takes longer time, right? But I tried. I like it. I was young, and I thought, why not? I should, wear it on the matches and the tournaments. So that's why I started using it. Everybody was surprised, and then everybody, all the little kids start wearing it because they like it and get tendency. But sometimes, yeah, it can fall down because then you can hit it with a racket or something, and you just have to work it out to make sure that doesn't happen. But for me, it only happened 1 or 2 times in 2 matches that I have to, stop the match, and they gave me a warning or whatever. But well, not a warning. Like I say, okay, you have to, like a lead, like you have to repeat the point. My opponent was not too happy, so obviously we have to repeat the point. But I try to play with that as long as I can. And then when I thought that I was a little bit older, then I started, not using it anymore. But I love it. I think
you still have
yeah, I still have it. I still have it because it was unique. I think it was something that I have to remember.
That was part of you.
Yeah, it was me. It was my personality, and as long as I use it, I was very happy. And after that, I keep it as a as remind me all the good times when I played and I had it on.
What was it like to be in this era where you were being in the locker room and all these champions were there? I mean, you guys, between you, Steffi, Monica, Mary, who else was there?
Well, I have Steffi, Seles, I have like Mary Pierce, I have Jana Novotna, Gabriela Sabatini, Mary Jo Fernandez, I have Conchita, I have Jana Novotna, I have Lizzie Davenport, I have Hingis, I have Kleisters, I have Henning, I have the Williams. So everybody, the group of players came in, and I play. I'm probably one of the few players who play with all 3 generations. Even when I started so young with Navratilova, Evert, and on later with all these players that I just said. So it was crazy. I just think that to be the best player, you have to beat each other in all the the bigger moments and the bigger matches. it was a great generation, great matches to watch, good rivalry, but good competition.
Arantxa,
And
I don't want to know about the matches. I want to know in the locker room, what was the atmosphere? Was it like this, or?
Well, the atmosphere was always, we were rivals, but at the same time, obviously you have a good relation off the court. I was a player that even they were my biggest rival, I still have contact, when I was playing, and I still have contact with now that I'm off the court as well. So, but everybody has her own group of people. Everybody has her own, people on her side. So it was not very good, close friends. You were not going for dinner most of the times, but sometimes, you hanging out a little bit. But once we go to play, it was a different story. But
were there different groups?
Yeah. I think that, we will have a lot of respect each other because we have, and that's something very important. But now you kind of talk more about it because you don't have that pressure and that, rivalry, and it's easier. But I still have good friends, the same friends that when I was competing against them, now off the court as well. So that's the beauty of the tennis.
Okay, but you still didn't tell me who were your friends and who were your enemies in the locker room.
No, I never have enemies. I should never say that. I always, have maybe some favors that I get along better, but I have respect for everyone. Even with the Steffi, we were rivals, but we respect each other. I was a good friend of Sabatini, Mary Jo Fernandez, even with Mary Pierce, Monica Seles. And then after, the young ones came up, I have a good relation with Hingis and Eva Maioli. So those were my, the players that I get along, when I was competing, and now I'm still, having a good relation off the court as well. We still, chatting, see each other sometimes, play each other sometimes, like exhibition matches or legend match, something. And we all involved in tennis one way or another with Martina Navratilova as well. So those were my rivals, but now they're my friends as well off the court.
Works out well. It works out well.
Yeah.
I want to come back real quick to the 1989 final because there's something that I found out that I didn't know, but it's very interesting. You played the day before the women's final. You were playing, is this correct? You were playing the mixed doubles finals? With Horacio de la Peña?
Actually, they asked me that question, and I don't know if it was the day before or I think it was the same day that I have to play after the finals. I think I play the same. I have played the finals of the women's, and then I have to play the mixed doubles finals.
So I was because I have a quote from Horacio de la Peña.
Or maybe before, I don't know, because I'm not sure about it.
In his quote, he says that he offered you to not play the final because he said to you, listen, you're playing Steffi Graf in the final, and maybe we shouldn't play this final match because you need to preserve yourself for tomorrow. And you said, no way, we're playing. And you ended up playing a long match, that a 3-setter that ended late, that you lost. That was the day before, and then the next day you won.
Well, now it's good that you tell me, because the other day a journalist told me was the opposite, and I said to him, I don't think it's right that I play after the women's final. I think it was the day before. So definitely yes. I make a commitment, as a professional, to play mixed doubles, and we didn't expect it to go so far with Horacio. We were good friends. We just he wanted to play mixed doubles, and I have a good relation with him, and I say, okay, let's go and play, have fun. That relaxed me a little bit of the pressure to play, because when you play mixed doubles, it's a lot of fun playing against the men, and you can get a good practice. And but I didn't expect that that's going to happen, that a long match. It's true, but I was a professional. I give my best, and we ended losing 3 sets. And he asked me before, are you sure you're not going to play? Are you going to play the final? And I say, yes. You have any doubts? And he goes, well, if it would be me, maybe I would not play. And I say, well, it's me, but I'm going to play. So don't worry, we're going to play, and we're ready for that. And I think that it shows my professional, the person I am, and how happy I was to be in another final.
Well, you were 17 also.
Yeah, and I was very happy. I was just very, I was a teenager. I just wanted to be on the court, have fun, play with Horacio, and try to see if we can win, So I was not thinking much about those things, but definitely I was, so tired after the final that I went to sleep, and I slept like a baby in the terms, because I was playing that match, and also trying to, sleep as much as I can until I have that question, come to around my face, my head again. But I just thought that I have to play because I have to be there, and that's what happened. But I would do it again. I would not mind if it happened again, you know.
Well, we'll get to that because I have a question for you after. I want to talk about something else. So I want to talk about the next two titles. I'm not going to go into detail about the next two titles because unfortunately we could speak all evening. I mean, I'm having a great time, but you have to help your kids study.
No
The
problem.
kids.
Don't worry.
The
I'm now
kids.
I am with you now. So I enjoy this moment, and people don't have
Okay,
much
great.
chance to ask me questions because I'm not you know, so much around anymore. But I'm very having a good time right now.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. So your 94 final, you played Mary Pierce, and you beat her in straight sets. And people said that she choked a bit that day, that she had stage fright playing in, you know, at home in front of her fans, and she didn't handle the support. She didn't handle the situation well playing in front of French people. And then I also read and you know, heard that in your next title in was it 98? No, 98.
Yes, 98.
98 against Monica. That maybe Monica she had recently lost her father, who passed away, and that maybe she hadn't got over. She was still, you know, it was impacting her still, and that maybe she wasn't able to really give her 100% in that final. And I was thinking, you know, wow, that's what about Arantxa? Like she didn't count. She was not on the other side of the net playing, and you know. And then to complete that, I've been speaking with other players, and everybody who's talking about you says, you know, that you didn't have a huge serve, you didn't have a huge forehand, but you made the best out of what you had, etc. And I thought to myself, sorry, I'm being a bit long, but is it not annoying to not get the credit? Like, hello, you won the 94 finals. You won the 98 finals. You won the US Open. You were number one in the world. You were number one in the world in doubles. You won 29 titles, 69 titles. Stop it already. People need to stop. No?
Well, I think that people always have some favors that they always, you know, supporting more than others. But if I tell you the truth, I think that I always say that the results, it's what it shows on the court. Doesn't matter what people can say, right? Or can, you know, say about one person. I just think that as long as you do your best and you give 100% and you fight for it, things can be, you know, people can be wrong. And then, you know, they can probably see with the few, you know, longer period that they make one comment and they're wrong. So if I tell you the truth, I heard so many things as well. But now that I'm away, I don't really play so much attention. Obviously, when you're there, you are a little bit upset because to be there, nobody gives you anything for free. So I just have to say to those people, they didn't lose the match. I won the match. I just think that definitely against Mary, she beat Steffi on the semifinals, killing her 6-2, 6-2. So she already was celebrating the victory because she said, if I beat Steffi 2-2, I can win the easily final against Arantxa the next day, right? So she made a big mistake. She put pressure on herself much more. That obviously played at home against the French people is not easy. So she getting to the court, feeling that pressure, but also knowing that she doesn't have an easy opponent on the court. And I was much more smarter than her, and I played better, and I beat her. So they should give big credit to me because she didn't lose the match. I won the match. And when I went to play Monica, obviously, I mean, I knew because I know she's my friend, and she's also, you know, suffering because obviously her father was very important for her. But as a professional as she is, she knew she was gonna, you know, wants to win that because if she wins, she can give the victory and celebrate it and give it to her father. So we talk about that, and she said to me, well, if I don't win the match, you know, because I want to give it to my father, at least I lost against my best friend on the tour, and you deserve it because you also are a champion. So I think that with these words means that I also knowing that it was not gonna be easy match. We played 3 sets because always playing Celes was a very tough, and I ended winning, you know, like playing, you know, probably better on the important moments and take control better the situations, and I won the match. But when I, went to the court and hacked Monica, we all both, you know, like crying, and I say to her, I'm sorry. She say, no, I'm happy you won because you deserve it as well. And I say, I know how hard you wanted this tournament. And she said to me, don't worry, I know that I lost to a champion. So that means a lot to me, because I know that a lot of people were saying that she probably, I have a chance to win because she was not on the top, but I think as a champion she wanted to win as well. But circumstances.
And by the
sometimes...
way, she made it to the final, right? So
yeah.
she
So
was
I
doing
just
something right.
Yeah, I just think that on that now it doesn't bother me, but at that moment I didn't try to think too much. But I was a little bit upset after. But I try not to give it too much attention, and just say, well, hold on, I'm doing my work. I know what I did right, and just keep continuing. But probably I get a little more respect after that from people before they talking that what happened on the finals. So
even in the Steffi final, people talked about when she left the court.
Yeah, well, it's always that's, I think that I don't think it's nice but definitely I just knew that I give always my best, and winning or losing, sometimes I'm gonna win, sometimes I'm gonna lose, but I know who I was. I didn't go to number one. Nobody gave me anything for free, so I know how hard I worked to be there. And even if I won only 4 Grand Slams, I was in another 10 finals. People have to remember that you need to be there as well to try to win those finals as well. So I just think that maybe I'm not the right person to say it, to talk about it, because I don't like to talk about myself. But I probably want much more respect, for as a player, as I was and what I did, because probably people didn't expect that I was going to do as a great career as I have. And I surprised more than one people,
Yeah.
But,
yeah. And you only won 4 Grand Slams. Yeah, terrible.
Well, I just think that that shows what kind of person and player I was, and what a great career I have, and what I was there on those moments that you have to be there, because not many people can say it, but it doesn't matter. I just think that I have, the most important, I always have the crowd, the love of the crowd, even before I started as a professional, during when I was a professional, when I was a professional, and now when I stopped playing as a professional, as a mother. So I think that that's the most important, that people still love me. I still can feel that even now. And that's something that you earn it, you win it, or you have it, or you don't have it. And that's something that I keep it, and as well, most important that, as well for my career and for myself.
Yeah, you obviously were doing something right.
Exactly.
And for anybody who's
Thank
watching,
you.
And for anybody who's watching, why don't you go, guys, and check out how many women have won Grand Slams, and see where Arantxa is with her only 4 Grand Slams. Anyways, you're too humble.
Don't worry. I you know what? That shows that what kind of person I am. I just think that I'm still the same person, even before, to be who I was, number one, or, I just think that I still have the feet on the floor, and that's the most important. My parents teach me to be like this, and maybe I'm very humble, but that's the way I am. And I know that people respect me, knows what I did, and how hard I had to get, those matches and victories, and a great career that I have. So thank you for supporting me, and a lot of people supported me. And I know I make history, and that's what is going to be there in the future. And hopefully people enjoy, what I did on the tennis court, and who I was.
Of course. Okay, that's done. Taking care of that. Yesterday we spoke to John Mcenroe. John Mcenroe, I'm sure you've heard of him.
Of course. Who doesn't know John? He's a great, I love him because, I got to watch him on, when I was younger on TV, and then I got to know him, and as a person as well. We play each other, in the mixed doubles, competition, and then we play together as well, like in Legends event. So it's a lot of fun. I like him a lot. I respect him a lot, and I have to be scared what he's going to ask me or not.
So John, I asked John to help me out with this interview and give me a question for you.
Okay.
And I have to say, he didn't hesitate 1 second when he had the question. His question was, why did she never accept to play mixed doubles with me?
He never asked me.
So that's the answer then, maybe.
That's the answer, John. If you would have asked me to play, I would have loved to play with you. I wouldn't be the happiest person ever, but never happened. You never asked me. We play each other, sometimes like in a Homeman Cup, I remember most of the time, but we never have the chance. If you would have asked me, it would have happened. So too bad that you wait too long to tell me that. You should tell me a long time ago.
So wait,
Let's do
I
it.
said to him,
Let's try to play a Legends match together or something now, so we can compensate.
Forget Legends. I said to him, why don't you guys play a Grand Slam tournament as in a mixed doubles? Ask for a wild card. I'm sure you'll get it. I'm sure you'll get it. I dare you guys. I dare you guys to try.
Well, thank you so much. But thanks for the question. But John, I would love to play. Yeah. So I would say yes, definitely. I would say yes before. I will say I'm saying yes now too. So answer.
There you go. I'm talking now to the tournaments, the Grand Slam tournaments, 4 Grand Slam directors, gentlemen, ladies. Can you please give a wild card to John McEnroe and Arantxa Sanchez to play mixed doubles together? That would be the scoop of the century. So Arantxa, tomorrow is Yannick Noah in your place. So now that John gave me a question for you, now it's your turn to give me a question for Yannick.
Well, I have 2 questions for him. Can I say 2 questions?
Go for it.
One that is a little bit more serious and one that is a little bit more fun, okay? The serious one will be if he can still jump as high as for playing the overhead, like he used to play. Because he was, how can I say it? Like a giant, jumping. I remember, going into those shots. And so I still want to know if he can still, do that. And I know he likes music so much, right? So if he would be, if I can be in one of his, of his singers, if he needs a new singer to play with him, on the music that he plays with.
So you want to be in his band to go on tour with him?
Well, yeah, I would love to be if he needs one.
Okay. How's your singing?
No, just for fun,
because
I know. No, I love that. I love him. He's a great person. Very nice. I follow his music. I like his music. So in a fun way, I'm asking if he needs somebody as, follow up. I can maybe help him a little bit, but I'm not that good, but I can learn.
Well, can you demonstrate? Can you demonstrate a little bit? Maybe a little bit of Spanish singing?
No. It's fine. I was just, that one. Canta y no llores. Porque cantando se alegran los gritos corazones. No. I was just joking on the way because I know that he's also a great singer, but I will leave it only on the tennis one if he can, still doing that because and I like him so much as a person as well. So he's a great personality as well.
I will ask him the questions. I like to end my interviews with a quiz.
Okay.
3 questions.
Okay.
So hold on. Let me get this. I need to make sure I'm on the right thing here. Am I in the right one? No, I'm not in the right one. I have to get into 1998. Wow. Voila. Okay. So in 1998, during your road to the final, during the whole thing, how many Americans did you beat and who were they?
In 88 or 89?
No, 98.
Oh, 98. Wow. Oh my God, I don't remember.
I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint.
Mary Jo Fernandez?
No. But I'll give you a hint.
No, Lindsay Davenport?
That's one.
That's one. Lindsay Davenport. I don't remember. That's the only one I remember.
Monica Seles was American.
Monica. Okay. So I was gonna say, but because I always consider it more, like when I met her was, Hungarian. So okay, Celes,
That's
Davenport,
two.
but
Who's the third?
I don't remember. No clue. No remember. No.
Let me see. Let me see if I can give you a hint. Her sister plays really well too.
Oh, Williams.
Serena.
But okay.
Serena
But
in the round of 16.
Okay, and okay, all right, and okay. I thought, but I also beat Venus, right? In the same year.
No, it
No?
was Serena. So your road to the final
No, exactly,
Jana
exactly.
Kandar,
Jana
Catalina
Kandar,
Cristea,
yeah.
Alexandra Fusé,
Fusé,
Serena Williams,
and then Serena Williams. Okay, yes, and then Paris Schneider, yeah, exactly.
Lindsay
I remember.
Davenport,
And then yeah, okay. All right,
so
that's true.
You played Serena Williams. She was 27 in the world. She was you 10 years earlier.
Can you imagine
already, when you played her, did you feel that there was something special on the other side of the net?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I knew already that when they started, they were like a huge potential because I got the chance to play also before Serena, Venus in another tournament as well before. So I knew that they are so strong physically, they're hitting so hard, and they were gonna be for sure number one in the world. Both of them in the coming years, and they were like hitting the ball so hard that I remember it was a very tough match for me. Actually, she was like maybe 2 points away of defeating me, I think, on the match. So I was close enough, even with on that moment, and I knew that that was the beginner to have to play her more often later, and big battles against her. And yeah, I was definitely a big victory, and it gave me a lot of confidence to come back and to be able to play the next matches. But
do you remember do you remember the first time you played her?
I remember more, not Serena. I remember more when I played Venus, because it was when I was number 1 in the world, number 2 in the world. I think we played a tournament in Oakland, in San Francisco, one of the WTA events. And she got a wild card, and she beat the top 20 player on the first round. And I was one of the top seeders, so I have a bye, and I was waiting for the winner. So that's when I get to know the sister Williams, because the father came in and started talking about her sister, her daughters, and they were all over the press. And that's how I go to know them, and how they were hitting the ball were unbelievable. I say, oh my God, and it was going to be a tough match. And I played Venus. And actually, I have a very tough, match against her, but I ended winning anyway. So I knew that was going to be the beginning of, like a big champions. And that's how I remember the first time I played, Venus. I think she was also like 14 or 15. So it was not, the beginning of the, yeah. And Serena
was in Sydney.
I think and then later, if I'm not wrong, I played both sisters back to back in Sydney when I won the event. Because I remember that I play, that I have to play both of them, one in the semis. And when I beat her, she was not too happy. So she was supporting her sister, and then they were all rooting for, each other. And I ended up winning and beating both of them. So I probably one of the few players who beat both sisters in the same tournament, because, on that moment. So
in 2 days.
In 2 days. So it was a very special, victory. And actually, with the years, I get to know that someone told me that you can look that better because you know more the statistics, that I have the best record against Serena Williams.
I'm the player. You're 4-3.
I'm the player who beat most times, against Serena in the, in the whole era. So I'm very happy. And as you say, it's not a coincidence, right? But we were talking before. So here we go. Another things that shows in tennis what can happen. So I'm very happy.
You lost 3 times. You lost 3 times to her, and you beat her 4 times. So.
Yeah, we play only 7 times. But I mean, she's younger than me, obviously. But it's a pretty good record for me. So I'm very happy. Yeah.
Yeah, you take it. Definitely take it.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, take it. Yeah.
Okay. Second question of the quiz. In 1994, in the title of 1994, you played 7 players, correct? Those 7 players, what were the languages that they all spoke in total? That's tough.
94. Okay, 94. Yeah. Okay. I have to say all the languages that I remember?
Yeah, there aren't that many. That's why it's
okay. French. Yeah. French. Well,
do you remember who spoke French?
Depends how you take it, because Mary Pierce can speak French, English, and Canadian. So English, French. So and a little Spanish. So I don't know if you can take Spanish, that for one. Spanish. No, okay. So I'll take French for sure. French.
Who spoke French? Do you remember? Mary Pierce. Do you remember who else spoke French?
Mary Pierce.
We spoke about her earlier in the interview.
Julie, of course, Julie Halar, and there is one more.
In the second round, Noel.
Noel Van Lotum. Yeah, correct. So I knew someone around there. Yeah. So that's
three French players.
Yeah, 3 French, and then also
then there are 2 more languages.
Okay, so 94. Conchita, Spanish. My Correct. Fellow who I beat her on the semifinals.
Yeah.
And then it has to be English, no? Somebody English, no?
First of all, there was another Spanish speaker in the first round, Florencia Labat from Argentina.
No, but she's
Spanish.
She's not Spanish. She's South American, Argentinian.
I said the language.
Okay. Then you're correct. I didn't thought about that because I was counting her Argentinian and I was like, who else is in Spanish? I don't remember. But yeah, that's
Spanish
true.
speakers, yep. French speakers, and there were last 2 more players who spoke the same language also. 2 more players that spoke the same language.
It must be like Paris.
It's not English.
It's Swedish. No. Swedish. Swiss. No. Oh my God.
You give up?
Yes, I'm really. It's been a long time. Come on, I don't remember all of the
Deutsch.
weeks.
Deutsch.
Oh, okay. Deutsch.
Barbara Rittner and Anke Huber.
Okay. You got me there.
Well, I mean, okay. And the last question. This one, you have to know. What was the score of the 1989 final?
7-6, 3-6, 7-5.
Vamos!
Vamos! How can I forget that? It's impossible. No.
I just want to make sure.
No. I remember most everything, but about you got me there and some clues, but it's not that bad, no? For being a long time,
it's not that bad. Great. This was great. Before we go, so like I said, we have a charity draw that's taking place soon for the Paris hospitals, and I think that you have something to donate for us.
I have a racket.
Nice.
Sign it by me. Says Arantxa on the grip of the racket, and I just want to collaborate, and I hope that this racket can help everyone, and it's for a good reason. So I'm very happy that you can guys have it. So
thank you very much.
With a lot of love.
Muchas gracias.
De nada, un placer, pleasure.
Muchas gracias, señorita.
De nada.
And now you can go back to the homework now.
Okay, thank you. Now my mother responsibilities, but I'm very happy. So I have a very good time. I hope everybody as well. Good talking to you, Ellie. And I hope to see you, we can talk another time.
I'll see you in September. We're drinking coffee together in Roland Garros.
Okay, right? We hope so. Okay, let's cross fingers that can happen. Vamos. Thank you and be safe. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.